to try and get back into the pool of teams that could make playoffs. And conversely, if Wildcard do manage to get 3 points tonight, it can jump them way up into that top 3 position, which is very valuable moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts as we look at the season as a whole. You know, for anyone at home that kind of wants to keep an eye on the standings, I suggest just going to Liquipedia and following along with us as we talk about some of those points, because really there are 4 points deciding between 8th place and 2nd, if I remember correctly. So there are a lot of opportunities for teams to break out into the playoffs. There's also a chance that the top 3 can still secure the Mexico Major, which is, of course, what we're all here to talk about. Now, looking at the bands, Raven, anything uncommon? I think we're pretty stock standard at the moment.
Yeah, Club tends to really stick with the stock standard at the moment. Thatcher certainly is almost always going to be bans on Clubhouse, and then usually it's a complementary hard breacher, either Maverick or Habana, because they seem to be 2 of the more valuable hard breachers on Clubhouse.
Yep.
In terms of defense, probably Mirror for this last one, I'm going to guess. No, a Clash. That's not too bad. Certainly seeing a lot more Clash play at the moment, broadly across a lot of different regions, but particularly in APAC South. We do know that some of those Southeast Asian teams love their Clash plays, and it has started to be adopted a lot more by these Oceanic teams. So I think that's a decent ban.
It's actually something we've been talking about, over in OCN for the OS teams. We've really, the Shieldy boys we saw few and far between of for the better part of the last year at the very least, from my memory. And really, Stage 2 has started to highlight it as quite a viable strategy for a lot of teams. So to see that banned out, I find it really intriguing. Maybe we'll start to see that slip through a little bit more. Now, down to Church and Arsenal, Raven, we see the Castle, we see the Mute, we see the Vigil, the Mozzie. We already know what's happening here.
Pretty classic SSG Roam kind of operator lineup here. So, yeah, definitely looks like it's going to be either the hard Roam or the fake Roam, where teams kind of just feign that they're going to stay off site and they don't. But, yeah, it just looks like the Chiefs are going to stick that. And certainly in the past with Clubhouse matches where the Chiefs have played, that seems to be the defense that they go for. In fact, I think I remember maybe they do a 3-man roam and they pretty much hard hold it. So we'll see whether that stacks up right now, because it can be a pain to deal with, or it forces that early decision. Do you just ignore the roam or kind of do a quick attack to site?
One thing I've found that has slipped through quite a few times when we're talking about this Clubhouse roam is a player sneakily finds their way into strip. I feel like I've seen it multiple times already this stage. Now, if you have a look at where Geo's drone is placed over by bathrooms, they're going to be hard watching that. Worthy kind of still playing around the bar. I mean, you do have to be cautious of that right now, but it's certainly something that I would keep our eyes on as spectators to see whether or not the Chiefs go for something cheeky here. I like this from Wildcard. They're about to isolate. Oh, see you later. That's Worthy. Oh, they're straight down. This is absolutely massive, Raven. What a call from Wildcard. They're already on site. Chiefs, what hope do they have in this round? Maybe digital, but it's already plant time. Oh, my God.
Yeah, really, really quick control here of Church does mean that even under that gunfire, the plant can go down. Chiefs are trying to fight back. It's got a 2 versus 2. Milo and Pat left to try and hold this down for Wildcard to such a successful entry. God Legion hits that. It's all on Pat now, Manic.
Step up. He does have the ability to get to side. He's got 2 nades to play with. Is Digital watching a light? Fine, there we go. My God, what a way to kickstart the game. Honestly, Raven, I'm not even expecting that. I'm sitting back, waiting for them to try and roam clear. And that is unreal. What a call from Wildcard. Unfortunately, it doesn't really pan out the way they would have hoped, but that is a really good selling point for me to say that this game is about to be a barn burner.
Yeah, I like that for a lot of reasons too. As I was saying, when you have a team that really does hard stick that SSG style roam on towards the top floor and that kind of thing, it does force that early decision. Do you bother with the roam clear, which can be tricky, or do you go for this quick attack? And the fact that Wildcard went the quick attack, they did it slightly different than you see a lot of teams do. You usually see like a classic blue rush. So I really like the ingenuity of them just going in through the kitchen hallway straight to bar. They got that opening pick, the push through to site. It looked quite coordinated. So overall, definitely a great call and a great sign for Wildcard. Unfortunately for them though, cheap on point with that retake, and total props to Digital. He ended up getting a triple in amongst all that chaos.
Yep. That's insane. I mean, Digital has been a player that I would say for the last 6 months we've been talking about as, has he been holding his own weight? What kind of, what does he bring to the team in the server? We all know that he's extremely vocal and I would say a very cheerful bloke, which would definitely bring good vibes. But outside of that, we were starting to question in stage 1 where he lied in terms of his mechanical impact. That's a great way for him to kickstart this matchup. Wildcard, not slouches, a team that certainly has been back on the rise. So the fact that he's already off with 3 kills, now it's just about him maintaining that. Again, we talk about Rainbow Six oh so often being a marathon and not a sprint. Well, I guess we're going to find out if we keep eyes on him now.
That is it. But again, as you said, good signs early for this matchup. That was a really exciting round 1. So we'll see how Wildcard try to bounce back as we move forward. Looks like, again, they're really sticking this nice west control early, just ensuring that there's no rampant roamers that they haven't missed with drones or having to kind of backtrack later on. Overall, I'm really liking the coverage that Wildcard have started with this attack so far, and of course, they do have the Maverick available, so going straight for that CCTV wall is going to be critical for this attack.
Now, don't know whether my eyes just deceived me or not on that Kennel's wall. I think maybe I was... Oh, what's the time like there for Vinny? Oh, that's so unfortunate. God Legion comes around the corner. Vinny turns away for half a second. Surely that has got to be a sound cue that he's heard in the wrong direction. Anyway, that is certainly not the way we wanted to start. And yeah, it was Kennels that was already open. So, wowzers. Once again, kickstarting another round.
Yeah, Worthy was just on the other side of the wall of Immarine as well. Thought he might have gone for that jump out of storage, but not to be. At least Wildcard, losing Vinny, it's not going to be too much of a big deal to the way they can progress through this attack, other than the fact they've lost a gun that can shoot, right? But given the time management, I think this is going to be a bit of an awkward finish this execute, because they've got that right side of CC Breach open, so a little bit more clunky to run through the default plant, and looks like they're really going to hard try and stick this garage take, and it's really not working out thanks to the back of Worthy.
Worthy will certainly be somewhat of a thorn in the side, very hard to deal with on Malusi. A lot of ability to just maneuver around that basement area, and you can see now he may well still rotate back up to main stairs. They've got God Legion on the flank regardless, so this is just not good news for Wildcard. It looks like they've taken a little bit of lounge control, but from there, they're going to need to start pushing red, start pushing into garage, and they just seem extremely uncomfortable.
They do. 30 seconds. Milo just missed an opportunity of a player crossing that vertical line. God Legion still on the creep from Billiards. It's going to be a very critical gunfight right here for Geo. If he loses this, it's going to be tough for Wildcard, and he does come out on top.
Oh, very big. Emorin opens up his bank account as well, as now Geo starts to poke and prod around the side a little bit more. How's the trade? Digital comes up massive for a 2K. Milo is completely known, and all they have to do is play for time. Worthy says, no, thank you. I'll find myself a second of the round. Just like that. It is the Chiefs that are off to a blaring start here, Raven. And Digital's spearheading it.
Yeah, man's 5-0 after 2 rounds. Somebody on the desk, I can't quite remember exactly who, said, come on, somebody from the Chiefs has to pick up kills other than Worthy. Well, Digital's certainly trying to do his best with that right now in this match. He's had a good couple of rounds, and overall that is what the story is for the Chiefs. They're up 2-0. Yeah. It is clubhouse defense, so they do really need to keep this trend up, because that would be what you would consider the meta or the norm right now.
Yep.
But more importantly, and again, I believe this was also touched on the desk, setting yourself up with some forward momentum coming into your attack half can be really critical.
Yeah.
It's not so much then about defender-attacker sided. If you get, let's say, 5 rounds in this half, getting 2 attacks just feels so achievable. It can really help the team morale. So this is a risky phase right now for Wildcard to rein that back in.
I will say, Chiefs on Clubhouse stage 1 it looked so good. I think we talked about it multiple times against the teams they were versing. It's a map that seems to favor them and their playstyle oh so well. Right now we're seeing it kind of as a really good highlighted point, but like you said, Taylor 2 halves, all good and well to start off with a very explosive entrance, but you need to continue to put the pressure on. Really like that. little Electroclaw coming from the underside. Surely, unless, you know, some thorough droning takes place, you're never really going to be spotting it.
Still 4 Chiefs players all the way over in CC Cash at the moment as well. But here we are again, Wildcard. They really are sticking a lot of this west entry. In particular, Vincia has been coming across. Now, it didn't really work out that well for him last round, but either way, it's a really good division of duties right now. And some good time management already going to work on this CC wall to put this pressure into this cash hold. A lot staked here for the Chiefs in holding this east presence.
About how much time they're going to be able to waste there. And already, 40 seconds off, starting to get to the minute mark. Wildcard slowly and surely kind of dealing with that first mini game that they have to play. We talk about it so often. It's important to do that early, and that they have. Now they'll be able to start putting a little bit more pressure. Pat live droning in front and allowing Wildcard to get into a position.
Yeah, liking this so far from Wildcard. Unfortunate timing there for Imarin. That player dodging out of cash. Could have been caught on that rotate. So that could have been a really big opening pick there for Wildcard. But either way, they've made some really great progress here. They've got control of cash. Vinny under fire again over on this side of the map. It's worthy this time around. But no opening pick at this stage.
No, certainly can't catch a break. Now, I did see, I think it was Vast pre-prepping a hole all the way down to Kitchen. I'm super curious to see what that actually was. I mean, would you have any read on that, Raven?
Could be just to try to watch the entry so that maybe Fisho could be better covered. I don't know what just happened, but that sounded clean as. Poor Milo is off the board now. This is going to get a little bit tough for Wildcard. And I reckon that was Milo just going below to try and do something about this mirror. Not sure. Either way, that's what Geo has now done. And that mirror being opened, it's going to make it pretty tough to hold this logic control. One player cornered perfectly there, and Imarin capitalizes.
Yeah, that's an awkward place for Fisho Guy to get caught out. You don't really have any ability to rotate out. And now Vast looks to double down into logistics as well. Needs to be cautious. Then he's going to send the first feeler out, but that's Worthy going and finding a kill on a Pat. Oh, Vast got a little bit close, but too hot and heavy at the moment, Raven. 20 seconds and Wildcard need to get a move on.
They really do. Gonna have to recover the diffuser and try push through to site. All of them tagged a little bit low as well, so Chiefs certainly sitting pretty on this push. Wildcard really just not making the opening needed to try to get post-plant, but Vinny, he backs it up. This could be winnable, Manic.
Yeah, Geo pushing down the staircase. That could have been huge. Once again, Emo trying to find something, but God Legion will shut him down. And there's one statement that's true in the first 3 rounds, and that is Chiefs are here to play.
Chiefs are here to play. 3 in a row. Very positive start for them. Very important start for them again. Just bringing it back to the broad picture here. They are last place on the standings right now, which is really unfortunate for them because, you know, regulation, they were 3rd in stage 1 behind Knights and Elevate. So the fact that they are facing this scenario right now, certainly not an ideal situation. And it's not like they've been playing, in my opinion at least, I wouldn't say they've been playing terrible Siege. They just haven't really been able to find the wins that they were finding much better in stage 1. So yeah, this is good signs from them early here. And
I'm sure for some people listening, maybe they don't tune into APAC South all that often, wondering why we're kind of talking about Chiefs in this manner. The stats kind of speak for itself. You know, we're looking at the fact that 4 of their players are in the bottom 8 of the entirety of APAC South ratings. So it is quite dire for them at the moment, considering they are still on 5 points. They are still in with a shot to make playoffs, which is absolutely outrageous. It does really come down to these last 2 playdays. This playday specifically is showing really good signs. However, I will just mention, you know, Wildcard, I feel like they have the ability to flick this game on their head. 1 or 2 rounds that they can take here might just be enough to give them a hope on their second half. But you really, you know, if Chiefs go 4-0 up, it really is dire straits. There's no doubt about it.
Definitely will be. They'll have to try and rein that in and stop that momentum so it doesn't carry through to the second half. But to pull back to your stat pull out there, Rob, if anybody is suffering from chronic back pain, I recommend probably hitting up Worthy because he must have the world's best chiropractor. He's still 2nd in the league for both rating, KD, and 1st in the league for cost. and his team is bottom of the standings. I think that says a lot about his performance so far for sure. Really going through with the hard carry for Chiefs in APAC South.
Who was it last stage? I think it was it Hysterics, I want to say, that went absolutely off, considering, you know, back then Giants played, you know, pretty miserably the first half of the season, kind of brought it back toward the end. But, you know, it really does go to show that one player can do a lot of work. However, if you want to make it to playoffs, right? If you want to make that kind of impact, you don't have a choice. There is no two ways about it. You need the entire team on board. Right now, that's exactly what we're seeing from Chiefs. Fisher Guy and Vast, the only two that are a little bit more quiet, but still you can even see that the impact that they're having can come from their utility. You're looking at the smoke, you're looking at the Goyo shields. It's just as simple as that sometimes. Now, a minute 30, and I would say Wildcard's done a pretty good job of opening things up. However, I don't think Chiefs face check that roam at all.
Yeah, no, very different strategy here from Chiefs this time. Probably just not wanting to open themselves up to having to deal with what happened in round one again. So very different tack here. And that's just going to put more pressure on Wildcard about their time management, because not something they had to worry about. Digital, again, going big. That's a huge C4 to take out Geo. That means that verticality is going to be stopped. That being said, Geo had already done a pretty decent job at opening up some line of sight here. So still very helpful for Wildcard.
Milo still with those breaking charges. If there's any kind of vital point that they need, he will be able to be of use, but it doesn't look like they're going to sit around in kitchen for too much longer. In fact, they're going to go and put their attention more so across toward the church wall. Mute Jammer doing just enough work to hold Milo at bay for now, but maybe the grenade. Oh, there's no grenade from Pat, so it is just going to have to be the torch that opens up that Mute Jammer for them. Got to be careful, though. Worthy looks like he's contesting that. Oh!
That could have been so deadly if Worthy hit that shot on the cross. Now, this is going to put so much pressure on Chiefs. It's hard to hold Church with this wall open. Oh, Worthy and God Legion combined. Fantastic job from the Chiefs. Wildcard fight back, but it's all on Pat. Ooh. He's going to have to do it, Manic.
Certainly is, but two really nice shots has given him an opportunity here. Fisher Guy with a cheeky little whoop. Up he goes, down he goes. And, I mean, let's just talk about it. 4-0, and the Chiefs have not looked like missing a single beat. At every moment, they are looking so damn clean.
They are, actually. This is probably... I mean, it sounds obvious, right? They're at 4-0, but I was going to say this feels like it's certainly their cleanest APAC South game for the stage so far.
Yeah.
And that has led to the scoreboard being 4-0. So, yeah, look, it's a really great showing for them right now. They're giving themselves this opportunity to jump back up into the middle of the pack.
In comes the tactical timeout from Wildcard. No questions as to why. Pretty much one of the more obvious tack timeouts we've seen. Now, we have talked about the impact. I think it's vitally important that we do mention that we've seen games completely flip on their heads because of the minute that you get. A minute can be enough to reset the mental, to understand maybe where you're going wrong, and try to address it, because 5-0 is devastating. It's absolutely devastating. There is no way the Wildcard come out of this unscathed. If they don't find their next round, I'm thinking I'm just putting it in the back pocket as Chiefs 7-0, because they are just absolutely bullying Wildcard out of the server.
Definitely agree that Wildcard really have the pressure on them right now to get this next round. And in general, you know, all is not lost. If they manage to get the next two and bring it back to be a 2-4 half, it's really not that abnormal. It's a very normal scenario coming out of attack in the first half into defense on Clubhouse. It's pretty standard. That happens so much. Teams are pretty used to that, but it does get more daunting when you're facing a 5-1 half, because there's a couple of reasons. I mean, it means your opponent is 2 rounds away from getting the 3 points, but on the other hand, it also means they're 1 round away from stopping you from getting 3 points because of the way the OT points work, which is pretty critical at this end of the stage, given that this is the second last playday.
Yep. Jeez. Really is coming down to the pointy end, down to the wire. Both teams are pretty much in touching distance. They can both feel it. Wildcard 7 points, Chiefs 5 points. Still very much doable. I think the threshold for stage 1 was it 11 points? Or was it actually less than that? I'm going to go back.
11.
Yeah, okay, so 11 points, which is still doable for every single team right now. And, I mean, how good is that for storylines for us, Raven, as commentators? The fact that we can get into the final play day and it really still be up in the air as to who's secured and who's going to find themselves those cheeky little playoff points. But let's wait and see what Wildcard have in this round. It is so crucial. Cannot understate how crucial it is for them to be able to take this one.
It'll be a tough attack as well. CCTV cash generally not the easiest takes. And on top of that, you know, in round 2, Chiefs had a pretty solid win on the site. It didn't really feel like it was that close in the end. So, yeah, big ask ahead of them right here. But this is a good start, getting this wall open nice and quick with that Maverick. And looks like they're going to try and pinch across from the west side as well. So, yeah, look, I'm liking this nice and early here in the first minute from Wildcard.
And the thing is, at the very least, even if they don't pinch, it keeps them honest, right? They've also got construction wall open, so Chiefs are pretty much forced to play a lot more passive than what they generally would. And with Geo still putting pressure into bedroom, you just have this feeling like they're going to be forced to anchor here. They're going to be forced to turtle on the site. Now, as long as they keep that garage control, I think that's really the important point for them. If that folds, it's going to be a kill box on site. But we'll wait and see how that folds out.
Worthy is still pretty deep on this roam here, coming up from the bottom stairs. Now, there is a drone in bathroom that's going to be able to catch this rotate, and he's got his back to it. So certainly, he has no idea right now that he's been spotted. A player is awaiting him, and he just gets annihilated by Milo. Really well played there from Wildcard.
That's absolutely clinical from the team that we're really looking to highlight here. And you know, this gives us a lot of promise for a team that absolutely needs this point. And round, I need to say. Looks like Chiefs have sat back a little bit more passively now as Wildcard's still trying to figure out what they're going to be doing to approach. They've got so many opportunities here and so many openings.
They do, and the Chiefs have pulled out the cash completely. They don't want to try and hard hold this anymore. They're just going to kind of let Wildcard do their thing to try and open this. Now, importantly, Pat's going to have to try and use the rest of his torch ammo to trick this wall to get access. Fisher's retaking this to try and front up some aggression here, and this could get a little hectic as the peak goes out. Pat hits a shot in cash onto Fisher. This is important for Wildcard to close this one.
Yeah, God Legion's in a do or die out as well, so that's going to mean that he is up with his back against the wall. What crossfires that the Chiefs have established? 15 seconds. God Legion just waits for the jump in, turns at the wrong time. Wildcard swarm the side. They're starting to suffocate them. Digital, can he be the savior here? With only 5 seconds left, Pat has to get that diffuser down. It's in default. Do they have the ability to hold? Oh my God. Digital nearly making it around the corner in time. It would have been but a second in it. And that is Wildcard's first round on the board, and a much welcomed one at that.
I held my breath for a second there, because if Digital actually hadn't hesitated, he would have made it past. I am actually so confident he could have denied that if he just yeeted it. Unfortunately, didn't happen. And fortunately for Wildcard, they have managed to bank their first round. And as we alluded to in the build-up, a very crucial one. They need to hold the Chiefs at bay. They need to stop the Chiefs jumping out to that 5-1 half.
Now, the final round is not going to be replayed in Kennels, which Wildcard did a phenomenal job at attacking. People who, you know, like me, a little bit noobish in the old Siege department, that round is just really clinical. Gorgeous to watch from start to finish. But now Chiefs have the opportunity to shut that momentum down. Raven, you said how important coming into that second half with the momentum, with the ball rolling in your court is, and both teams really have that chance. You know, Chiefs could completely stamp out the fire that Wildcard's starting to burn, but at the same time, Wildcard could negate in a way all of the work that Chiefs have done if they can make this a very clean 4-2 half on the back end.
Yeah, it's certainly something the Chiefs will have to be wary of too. And from their perspective, you know, they really need to look at this, whereas they have started the game quite well. And as you were saying, that they've locked in some really solid momentum. It would be a bit of a waste if they don't quite get to that 5-1 half lead. At the end of the day, though, they're certainly not going to be turning their nose up at a 4-2 either. It does put them in a pretty decent position to try close it out. But 3 attacks can be really tricky on Clubhouse. It just kind of depends on the Wildcard form that we see when they do go to the defense.
Always feels like that's the big case. You know, with a lot of the host teams, it's what version of the team's going to turn up on the day. You look at Order, you look at Chiefs, you look at Wildcard. I feel like Knights we've had a little bit more of a clearer picture of, but certainly the three teams that are kind of pottering around, we do ask many questions about who it is that's turning up on the day. Right now, it's the better of the Chiefs. And I like that decision from Digital in a place where he can pick that back up, fall back into the bathroom, and electroclaw the double wall. So they'll essentially be forced to turtle on that site there and hope that Wildcard don't find another way into the bathroom spot.
Yeah, do really like that. Just conserving utility, because easily could have left it there to get wasted. They were about to finish Maverick tricking the wall, but this way he can actually provide himself a lot of extra support in through the bathroom. Only downside is they don't have that direct access into the gym door, so if they get cut through the bedroom, it's going to be a little bit tougher to maybe cover a plant scenario where Wildcard execute. But either way, still think this is looking okay so far for the Chiefs, but also looking decent for Wildcard. They've made really good progress. They've pushed Chiefs back into some trickier positions to try and have to hold off this execute, with still over a minute to go.
Now, the big question is what control do Wildcard have across toward the construction side, because that will really determine how Chiefs play this out. Doesn't look like they're going to have any pressure whatsoever, so Chiefs can play for the back of bedroom. That obviously means that plant spot right behind the gym waits is utilized for Wildcard Raven, and whether or not they're able to capitalize is a different thing altogether.
I think what we'll see is a player rotate to logistics and maybe try and get presence here from the back, and it's certainly what Vinny is going to be doing now. They will have to be wary of that CCTV peak, but either way, Wildcard do have some options available. They've got some deep presence right now. Pat, this is going to be crucial for him. If he actually manages to find this logistics player and have that presence, they could be set for a really good execute.
Well, it looks like he's going to have partners in crime here with Emo and Worthy still underneath. He could still deny this plant on the back of the site. Don't forget that. Wildcard starting to mount up their attack. Selma doesn't hit a single thing. And now, with only 5 seconds left, Wildcard have to go in. It's Worthy who should be able to deny it. Oh, Milo's fallen out. It's all over. The round's done. Chiefs take it 5-1, Raven. And what a way to do it.
I guess Milo was just like, well, I'm going to die, so I'm going to drop and try and get the kill anyway. I don't know. He couldn't have stuck it. Either way, the diffuser was going to go. So it's not a bad call. If he got the pick and his teammates managed to find theirs as well, that could have been around. Anyway, at the end of the day, that's Chiefs locking in that 5-1 half to start us off on Clubhouse, and a very strong half at that, and a strong position for them right now to be able to close out this match.
I mean, I hope to God we just see a full send from the Chiefs just to rub a little bit of salt in the wounds for Wildcard here. But, I mean, their lineup does not really scream a heavy roam strat. They may face check a lot of that upstairs area, just kind of keep Chiefs on their toes at the early part of the round, or they may well just sit on site, which I feel like is probably the better of the decisions here. However, wasting time, you really don't want to let Chiefs just have all the time in the world to get that vertical control, get those hatches open, etc., etc. Kind of, there's a lot to there is a lot to do in terms of finding the right places on site and utilizing your util against the util of the defense. But you know, there is an argument to say that you just don't want to let them have all that time to do so.
Definitely not. I do feel like there is still a chance here for Wildcard. You know, these defenses can certainly form an essence of comfort for a lot of teams on Clubhouse. And to bring this back, Clubhouse was the map that we have seen Wildcard this stage, both in Oceanic Nationals and in APAC South, perform well on. In fact, we actually kind of alluded to them being a one-trick on Clubhouse at the start of this. It just seems like that's where they were just going to get all their wins from. So they certainly are a good Clubhouse team, and I do have belief that they can bring this back on defense, but boy, they've given themselves quite the task to have to do so.
I mean, literally no mistakes, right? Otherwise you drop a point, and at this point in the season, you can't be affording overtime wins or losses. You need them clean wins, and it will really come to the detriment of the defense at the moment. Look how much time that Chiefs have to kind of lay to waste the flooring of the kitchen, the hatches, any kind of control they want, whether it be dirt, blue. It's really just about how Chiefs want to approach this. They have all the cards in their hands here, and they have 2 C4s to use on Wildcard, so it is a little bit of a death box in kitchen at the moment, but Pat's not getting any information.
Yeah, no info, and she's just doing a really good job of that kitchen control without being in danger, which is always the scary part, right? So this is a good start here from Chiefs, but that is Geo getting a big C4 there onto Digital, so no more renovations from him.
Very big, very important, there is no doubt about it. And now, still with half the round, Chiefs have an idea, or have a better idea as to what they're going to look to do. They won't have the opportunity to use those vertical holes to the best of their ability. But at the moment, they may just look to put attention elsewhere as they open these up. Very important that Geo finds that pick onto God Legion. This is looking so nice at the start of the second half. The turn of the tides may just be upon us.
Feels like it. 2-man deficit. This is really always going to be a tough little drop. Execute. He takes out the drone with it. That's really unfortunate there. And look, this is great util from Pat. He's just getting all of the info. They know exactly where all these Chiefs players have been coming from, except maybe Vast. But either way, Wildcard's certainly in the box seat to try and take this.
Oh, Fisho's on site. I really like that from Worthy. It was a nice try. Fisho has to play heroically here. That is 2 of 5. He's got the ability to do so, still got 20 seconds to play with, but it feels like there might just be enough information with Pat to allow Wildcard to play off it. Fisho Guy pre-aims in the right position, but cannot connect the shots. And that is a very good showing from Wildcard in the 7th round.
Fisho was really close to hitting that headshot too. That was like around neck on Emo Rin. If he had hit that headshot, I felt like he then had enough control to maybe push it to a post plant, but good round from Wildcard, I've got to say. Just they really controlled it from sight, which is also really important, right? They didn't do that hard roam. They didn't put themselves at danger. But really importantly, they used that sight control and that sight presence with their pulse to continuously have that info of Chiefs. They knew every step of the way where Chiefs were at with their attack. Hit big C4s, got big kills. Really, really good opening defense from Wildcard.
Now they're going to back it up. Cannot allow Chiefs to head to round 6 for them. Match point would be utterly devastating, no doubt about it. That would be 4 rounds straight. They would have to fight back. So the storyline will always revolve around their ability to continue to shut down Chiefs. No matter how close it is, no matter how convincing they are about it, they just need the rounds at the end of the day. And look, CCTV might be a good place for them to gain some of that momentum. But eventually we will head to a site where there will be contention, there will be contest, and we will have to ask the big questions, the big, all ominous questions for them. We're not there yet, though. We can hold on to that. Oh, cheek. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Me too. It's actually a great mirror play because it just means it's not that comfortable to try and do even the Maverick trick on that wall. I mean, you can certainly go for it, but you always have to be concerned about that mirror being popped and what issue that presents. So we'll see what Chiefs do to deal with it. At this stage, maybe Fisho deciding not to go for it. Oh no, here he goes. And he's just going to hit it. I actually totally forgot that that's still a feature.
So did I. So did I. It's been so long since I've seen mirror in competitive play. I had totally just forgotten that, you know, you punch the old mirror out now. I was literally about to lean into the fact that, you know, it's a great place for a mirror to be because you can pop it at any time and then all of a sudden, you know, it's very, very awkward for that Maverick to finish the trick. And I guess popping it early also makes it awkward. It's not really a favorable position for either team to be in. Yep. A direct line of sight onto site. And now Chiefs will look at maybe approaching it a little bit in a different manner.
Yeah, and they've gone for God Legion below to get this electric claw, and he's managed to do so. That's a big dub there. They can go to try and open that wall, but it's an impact trick. Oh, fantastic work from Wildcard here, and this is going to stall out the Chiefs pretty heavily, and they're trying to stop this from happening again. Beautiful pre-firing from Fisho. Does secure that.
And then my big question is, you know, there are 2 players that are low, Emo, Rin, and Geo. They both went low at the same time, so that would have had to have been Digital's nade. You know, that's literally like, what, 100 and 60 damage, maybe even more done there with one grenade. And now Wildcard, their backs, I'm going to say it right now, the backs are up in the corner and they're going to need to play quite large if they want to get something done. Maybe this is a play from Vinny. Maybe get aggressive up in the face of Chiefs, take a pick and fall back.
Yeah, well, this is really the last linchpin, you would say, for this attack here for Chiefs. If they manage to get Vinny out of this garage rafters spot, then it's really going to be tough for them to be able to hold on to this. And especially after losing Milo, this is starting to look worse and worse for Wildcard right now.
Really, at every turn, it has just gone from worse to, well, worse. And in comes the grenade. Oh my word, Cherth. This is absolutely ridiculous. They are just eliminating Wildcard's chances. There are still 2 on site though, Raven. Geo, I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah, there's 1 on site now though. That's correct, Geo. But yeah, he's one shot basically. This is a very tough situation for him to try and clutch out here, Rob. And he's just not going to do so. Chiefs just absolutely rally and get a dominating win on CCTV Cash right now. They move to match point. This is looking very grim for Wildcard.
You know, it really is hard to sell this. You can put makeup on a pig, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig. And I think that's kind of what we're doing at the moment, is trying to sell this as doable or as retrievable. And as much as it is, the Chiefs have just played better from start to finish. They have just looked better in pretty much every round. And I'm going to put my hand up to say Digital's been on fire. He has been an absolute beast for the Chiefs today. The first 2 opening rounds, he went massive on. He hasn't gone quiet since. And in that round again, he found himself a 2K. This is just looking really clinical.
It is. It's definitely just a general, more well-rounded effort from the Chiefs. I mean, look at Worthy. He's by far not their kill leader. In fact, he's got the second least amount of kills on their team. And this is kind of something that we've really lacked, particularly in APAC South from the Chiefs, is just this really nice, well-rounded effort. And the other person I'm actually going to call out here that we haven't really mentioned enough of is Fisher Guy.
Yep.
He is actually also having a great game. And
he is.
Look, I love the man. He is a fantastic player, but this is easily probably one of his quietest stages of Siege I've ever seen in his competitive history over 5 years of him playing. But it's good to see him back in some form here. He's had some really big, impactful kills and certainly been very efficient with really crucial utility.
Yeah. It's fantastic to see. I know Xenox has been quite critical toward that specific talking point, and for good reason. That's not me throwing Xenox under a bus by any means. I believe you guys, well, not you guys, believe the boys spoke to Specker about it, the player from Order, on, when was it? Monday night. And, you know, he was saying, you know, it's too hard to just put the performance of one player as a really big pinpoint, but there was no doubting it. Fisher had been quiet, and this really, I mean, look, if there was ever a time to start performing, the end of the season when playoffs is looming, that is when. You couldn't ask for a better place to be. So who knows, this may really kickstart Chiefs with only 1 play day to go after this, but we are still, with this match, here and now, they need all 3 points. Yep. Yep. Certainly is the calm before the storm here. And only, I mean, it kind of sounds absurd. Only round number 9 may be what dictates it. There we go again. So Digital really has been quite on point with his grenades today, as well as his shots. And that will be some side of comfort for Vinny. Lost. They still have 1 more shield at the top of red to deal with. They've perfectly found Geo on the rotate back, but Milo tries to go massive here. And look, that could be the saving grace. Finding a kill and continuing to put pressure on quickly gets diminished, but that might have been it if he'd found a second, Raven.
Look, certainly still helps. Now, Wildcard are down in the man disadvantage right now, but in under a minute, the Chiefs have only just really had full access to this east side of the map. So they haven't really been able to continue to prod and make penetration in towards the actual site here for Execute. certainly Wildcard, they still have a chance in this round right now. But the Chiefs are certainly looming, and they are poised to be able to pull this together and get a 7-2 victory.
I think we've figured out the Chiefs' kryptonite, and it's called Consulate. Oh my god, what is going on here? Vinny with a double, trying to find more. Chiefs with a huge oversight, sending it into sight and completely being just thrown around like a rag doll. It's worthy, of course it's worthy to give them an opportunity, but Vinny steps up massively in a round that could not have been bigger, and they send it to another round. And the confidence that that's got to give that man in particular cannot be understated.
Yeah, look, huge round for him in the context of his stage. I guess similar to Fisher Guy, right? Very experienced, solid star player on Wildcard that's been having a really shocking stage. I've certainly not seen Vinny go through a patch that he's been through that's been so slumpy for a long time. So yeah, that's a big 3K that will probably give him some confidence to try and carry this through. And this does start to get, I guess to a degree, worrying for Chiefs because Wildcard, they're 3 rounds behind now. Church Arsenal Wildcard won in a pretty significant fashion. That would only have the 2-round buffer if they manage to lock this in. You know, it starts to get a bit worrying.
It does. And, you know, Wildcard are still... It's so hard to sell at this point. Just basically, the reason I'm basing that off is how well the Chiefs have played up until now. But I guess it doesn't really matter how well you play. If things start to fall at the wayside, you will be punished for it. Chiefs need to keep that in check. Now, you know, we've talked about it multiple times, them working with their psych, you know, Pocket Psych, I believe the alias is on Twitter. And she's been phenomenal for their mindset. But there still are many questions that have been left unanswered for this team. Because there are some, I mean, we look back at some of their games, Raven, and we really do start to ask some pretty big questions. Now, that could all just be kind of pushed to the side, depending on how the rest of this season goes for them. But I guess we'll hold on to those questions for a little while longer. But this certainly has to be in regulation that Chiefs take this win.
Agreed. 3 points, super critical right now. And to also be able to ride that momentum through to the end of the stage and potentially into playoffs, certainly the right time to peak. But they do have Wildcard firmly in their way right now. This is a slightly different adjustment here from Wildcard, I think. No, I'm looking at the wrong outline. It's all good. No rumors. But they do have the pulse still on the board, which was incredibly effective in the previous Church Arsenal defense.
I really like this from Digital right now. Much safer approach to getting those vertical lines. And we know how much Pat went to use with that, you know, cardiac sensor. And there's 3 C4s on the side of Wildcard this time. So trying to play around opening up those vertical lines would have been a very, very dangerous dance. And instead, he's gone second floor into logistics, found the vertical lines, and now, with that, Chiefs have everything they need for the vertical plays. It's just about how they're going to kind of diminish this impact that Pat's been having on this basement floor.
You love this from Milo as well. Every new hole that gets open, he's just insta-peeking that. It's actually incredible to watch him running around, checking, trying to find this opening. And he may just do so. Doesn't quite hit the shot. Actually, that might have been a Gemini replicator. I'm continuously being a bit cooked on this round. But either way, that is a cooked C4 as well. So all over the place here.
This is a little bit, I guess, disappointing in a sense because there are many opportunities for Wildcard, especially with Pat, to utilize the C4s to full effect. And now it's just, once again, Milo face-checking those lines. Oh my god, I mean, go for it. There we go. That's the impact Pat was looking to have with the other C4s. This time, he'll do it by himself. Pushes them aside and says, no more. This is time for the men to step up. 30 seconds left, Raven. Do they have enough?
I think still very winnable here for Wildcard. It's they've got a lot of map control. They've got the right lines ready to hold. Chiefs, on the other hand, don't quite have the pinch that is required here. Vast is going to try and rotate to blue to facilitate this drop, but He has a massive task ahead of him. I think this is going to be tough here, Manic.
Yeah, that's a nice way to start. Grenade, and that smoke is going to slow them down significantly, trying to push on in. If they find the kills, it still is doable, but my goodness, Wildcard, they shut it down with seconds in it. And, I mean, we are really talking about the fact this is doable. This is in touching distance for Wildcard right now. We surely head back to Kennels and, well, not Kennels, sorry, CCTV. And this may be one of the last points that we really get to take a breather, because it is a tactical timeout for the Chiefs. And once again, we speak of the impact of them. A moment that they need to just slow down, figure out what's going on, and sort themselves out.
Yeah, they do. They just need to stop the bleeding a little bit. That being said, you know, this is very much how doing the attack in the second half can feel sometimes. You know, you often get within reach of the match point, and then it's just that close attack you need. Now, the Chiefs did at least give themselves that 5-1 half, so they only need to get 2. They found 1.
Yeah.
It's just about finding that other, and, you know, was it Superstitions? Cash CCTV was the attack that they did win. So you could argue this is potentially their opening here right now to get this next attack.
If ever there was an opportunity, they have to take it with both hands. Wildcard, if given the opportunity, will not make any mistakes here. I like that. Coming off of the mirror onto the smoke, felt like the smoke had a pretty decent impact at the very end. They're smoking off both sides of blue.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
And now
as they can.
we really get a little bit concerned for the Chiefs after all of their work. This is the round that it's going to come down to. Keeping their mental state level-headed right after a tactical timeout. If we were saying how important it was for Wildcard to pull out their win after their attack, this is equally the same statement and sentiment.
Definitely is. And you know what? The only attack round that Wildcard did win was after their attack.
Yep.
So if history repeats itself, this would be the Chiefs taking the map right here if they managed to have touched on the right points during their attack timeout.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
You look at both sides, and outside of us, there's no one that's really lacking at all in terms of what we would consider the KD impact. Fast obviously sitting down at 3, but every single player has had their moment. Every single player has stood up here. Maybe this round it's time for Vast, but still just being so cautious here. God Legion on that rappel will be trying to support in any way possible. Now Fisho just has to not butcher this and take too long. On this backside, Emo Rin still just going to hold that face check. That's a massive start. Milo on the flank will take down Vast. And that's not only the man down, the Ash as well. So they're going to be cautious now.
They do. Playing a man down in that first minute's never ideal. And certainly on CCTV Cash, you want those 5 men up as much as possible to try and take some of these really key positions. But on the plus side here, Chiefs, they have got Kennel's Wall open right now. Again, relatively efficient given some of the challenges involved. But they're going to have to play from a man down right now, and this could be, yeah, a tough little challenge.
Look, when the dust settles, we could really be talking about Wildcard's triumphant effort to get back into this after a 5-1 first half. And the biggest talking point of all is going to be the fact that it was not just a 5-1 half, it was a convincing 5-1 half. Many of the rounds the Chiefs looked so strong on. This would just be a massive way back into this game if they're able to do so. You know, we've been sitting there talking about how important the 3 points are for Chiefs. If Wildcard can even just get the 2 points here, if they can take an overtime win, it will be huge.
That nade could have been huge there from Digital. He has been completely on point here, and he's going for it again. But regardless, the Chiefs are fighting back. Pat taken off the board is going to create a bit of a dent. Milo is still looming down in Lounge. So this could be deadly if not kept tabs of. Digital is in the line of sight here in stock. This could be his imminent gunfight, but 40 seconds left on the clock here, Manic.
Oh, that's the one that they needed. That is Milo. That is the Roma down. Emo, Vinny, and Geo are all that stands between Chiefs and 3 points. 3 points that must be taken away here. Vinny just so cautious, but look at that. Digital goes down. God Legion quickly trades. Fisho doubles down, and Geo is left to save the day. He can't do so. And the Chiefs, they take all 3 points away, Raven, in a really decent showing from them.
Yeah, it was a really good match overall from the Chiefs. Some scary moments in the attack, but CCTV Cash was all they needed, winning it both times in the half to take the match. Really good effort from them to claw back up to what's been a difficult stage. And holistically here, Rob, that jumps them up to 8 points. They're technically equal with Invictus Gaming right now in 3rd position. That is how crucial the 3 points were